United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Invocation for Persephone, is that why you're here tonight?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good.
I want to say good evening to everyone, to our mayor, our vice mayor, our commissioner, and our city manager, all of our city employees, our constituents in the audience. I'm so grateful to be here on behalf of Ministerial Alliance. We certainly hope you had a wonderful Christmas holiday with your family. Wish we could have had this weather on Christmas Day, but we'll take it, and we're so thankful. So let's pray. Father, we thank you this afternoon for this opportunity, Father, to stand here humbly on behalf of Ministerial Alliance and to pray for this session and pray for this meeting. Lord, you've been faithful to the city down through the year. And here we are this last Tuesday in year 2022, Father. We thank you right now for how progress has been made, Father, how decisions are being made on behalf of the city and behalf of the citizens. And we thank you, Father. We thank you for the city employees, Father, doing that cold spell, Father, that had to go out to go to work and be in brutal weather. We thank you, Father, as they left their families to make sure that we are warm and safe. We say thank you. We thank you for the faithfulness of all the employees down through the years. Things may not always come or be like they want them to be, but Father, we thank you for the cohesiveness that we see here. Continue to have your way. We pray for the wisdom of God tonight as we prepare and project 2023 to see what those projections are going to be. And we thank you, Father, for the decisions that are being made, that all minds will come together, that there will be a meeting of the minds for the bigger picture. Now have your way in this place tonight. We thank you for all that are here. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Persephone. Okay, item number 1, awards, proclamations, and presentations. Do we have anything, Alicia? No. We do have one, I don't know if it's be an introduction, we'll just slide it into this number 1. Damien, would you come up, please?
Right when he walked in.
This is Damien Denmark. He's the newest employee of the Seward County Development Corporation. Why don't you tell everybody what your position is and and a little bit of your history, if you would mind.
All right, so of course, my name is Damien. I'm the Director of Business Development for the Seward County Development Corporation. I've been in Liberal, Kansas for about 2 years. I have worked in retail for T-Mobile and Starbucks, being the launch of their retail locations in southwestern Kansas, and of course in the panhandle of Texas. So I'll bring a lot of the retail distribution and growth as we want to see and continue for Seward County and the city of Liberal.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
right.
We're not gonna, unless somebody else wants to put you on the spot, I'm not going to.
I just remember when we merged, one of the contingents was that they hired a third person, so we waited 6 months for you, so you better not disappoint.
Okay, item number 2, approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion, we approve the agenda as printed.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion, any questions, any? All right, all those in favor? Okay, thank you very much. Item number 3 is minutes from the December 13th, 2022 regular meeting.
I'll make a motion, we approve the December 13th, 2022 regular meeting minutes.
Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion, questions, comments? All right, all those in favor? Okay, thank you very much. Item number 4, items from citizens. Are there any citizens that would like to address the commission? Rita? You know the rules.
Okay. Commissioners, I remember this time, Mr. Manager. Haven't been here for a while because I didn't have too much to complain about. But I picked up the paper this evening and was reading about your budget agenda. My taxes show that you increased my education about 68%. And I think everybody knows how I feel about our Board of Education directors, how they spend money in the community. But after you spend all this money for them, and the taxes went up like that, in tonight's paper, you are budgeting or asking for, was it 0.05% for anticipated collections on our taxes for to spend. If you are already taking our tax money out, why are you asking for more money? Or am I misreading what it is?
Are you talking about the 2.6
I'm sorry.
million? Are you talking about the $500,000 increase? That's from the sales tax. It generated more than we had budgeted, and that money we're just a pass-through to the school district. So we're not asking for more money. That's more money that was collected through the sales tax revenue that goes straight to the school for them to pay off the 5 elementaries and the
So we,
infrastructure.
the city, the voters approved a 0.5 cent sales tax for payment back, to help the school district pay back that bond. So we budget a certain amount at the beginning, or actually in the summer before, that we think that the sales tax is gonna be this much. So that's how much we budget. Well, we actually collected more than that budgeted amount. So in order to give them that true 0.5 cent, then we're going to raise, now correct me if I'm wrong, you can probably
Yes,
explain this a lot better than I can.
So the interlocal agreement that we entered into with the school district, that agreement was to collect the 0.5 cent sales tax designated for educational purposes, and whatever collections we get, per that agreement, we have to pay that to them. And being that we had a budget for a smaller amount that we thought we would pay to them, since we collected more, we actually have to amend our budget to account for that increase.
So it's not new money, it's money we collected through the year that we're bound to give to them, but we have to amend our budget in order to do that. Does that make sense?
Well, it does, and then I think about how much my taxes were increased for education. And of course, I've got a lot of things to say about that part too, but I do want to say one good thing. The police department, what you're doing for that, but how come it went so far before it was in the condition it was in, before you took care of it? You know what's in tonight's paper about it? The money
haven't
that
seen
you're going
tonight's
to redo the police department because it's in such bad shape. How come it got down like that when we're spending money for everything else?
Well, so I can tell you the 6 of us, and I don't like passing blame, and I hadn't done it, but these 5 saw the condition and they fixed it. So I can't really speak to what previous administrations or commissions did or why they did it, but I'm proud that these guys stood up for our police officers and
Yes.
are fixing it.
I am too.
Yeah.
I'm too. Doesn't matter about the shoes. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rita. Okay, item number 5 is items from groups. Are there any groups here that would like to address the commission? Okay, seeing none. Item number 6, the consent agenda. We have, 6 airport leases and 4 cereal malt beverage licenses. We'll just approve those as a group.
Make a motion, we approve the consent agenda as printed.
Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Okay, thank you very much. Item number 7, amending the 2022 fiscal year budget. It's a timely thing to talk about. Chris?
Sir. And, Mr. Mayor, this is a public hearing.
You gotta open the public hearing.
All right. So the next item on the agenda is a public hearing for a budget, hearing for amendment to the 2022 budget. I now declare the public hearing officially open. The legal notice was published on December the 15th, 2022.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Commissioners, you have before you tonight 2 proposed budget amendments to our 2022 budget. Both of them are for fairly good reasons. We just discussed the need for the 0.5 cent education sales tax. You know, we collected more 0.5 cent educational sales tax than we budgeted, so therefore, the first amendment is proposed for that to go from $2.1 million to $2.7 million. And then the second proposed amendment is for the Airport Utility Fund. We did receive some operating grants from, I believe, the FAA in relation to the CARES Act and the CRESA and the ARPA, yes, thank you. And those were operational grants, so therefore, with those additional funds, we did incur additional expenses, and so therefore, we would be requesting to amend the Airport Utility Fund. And with these two amendments, based upon the review I did on the remainder of the city budget, we're in really good shape this year for 2022.
Yeah, so if you recall during the budget hearing, I kept saying 3.4 million
Yeah.
was our magic number, and we're gonna hit that and go a little more. So we hit our mark, and we should be good in 23. Knock on wood, no catastrophes. But the two increases are we got more money, so we spent more money. So and with the airport, that's Lochner's kind of got that planned out for 7 years, so we're able to accelerate some of the stuff that they were going to do anyway. So these are the good ones. You don't want to come to you guys when you spent too much and didn't make enough.
And so for these two proposed amendments, in order to officially amend our 2022 budget, staff has prepared ordinance number 4591 to do so. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Anybody have any questions for Chris?
No.
Okay, so no more questions, we'll close the public hearing.
Jeff, before you do that, is there any public comments? Anybody from the public who wants to make a comment regarding the amendment? Seeing none.
Okay, thank you, Lynn.
Yep.
All right, we'll close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion, we adopt ordinance number 4591, amending the 2022 fiscal year budget. Do you need it to be more specific?
That's fine.
Second.
Second, was it you?
Me, you're
Oh,
next.
Ron, okay.
There's two of us.
All right. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, all right, all those in favor? All right, thank you very much. Thank you, Chris. Oh, I guess you're not done, are you? Item number 8, fiscal year 2022 transfers.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Commissioners, you have before you on this item several proposed transfers. These are customary items that we normally do every year. Some of them are for our capital projects, and it's just a matter of transferring the funds from where the commission originally approved to transfer them from to the capital projects fund, because that's where we spend the money from capital projects first, and then we fund it at the end of the year. And on those, I'd be happy to entertain any questions. The last item that you see is for the solid waste utility fund. We were in such a state with that fund, with our expenses and our revenues, that I'm proposing to transfer some funds to the solid waste equipment reserve fund. And I believe that we may be working on an item that will come to you fairly soon on that. We have a need for a large expenditure on a truck, but that's down the road.
Okay, so there's nothing that's not routine in here, is that correct?
Right, so
Correct.
just think of this fund as kind of like the catch-all. We put all that into the bucket, and at the end of the year, we transfer it out into the different funds that pays for it.
We're just doing some housekeeping, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I guess that would have been, thank you, Ron.
I'll make a motion that we approve the fiscal year 2022 transfers.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion or questions? Okay, all those in favor? Okay, thank you, Chris. Item number 9, reclassification of delinquent accounts receivable and utility accounts. Chris?
Okay, thank you. Okay, Commissioners, before you on this item, one of our audit requirements is that we try to have good bookable quality assets on our balance sheet at the end of the year. So in order to do that, and this is a housekeeping item, we'll come in and any balance that we have that's over 120 days past due, and also like on our accounts receivable, these accounts are for like mowing charges and demolitions and so on where the property has changed names, so we're not able to assess those to the tax rolls. And then on our utilities, when they do become delinquent, we do actually turn those over to the state set-off program. And if the state does find any withholding for any of these individuals, they'll start the process and then, return our money to us for a convenience fee or whatnot. But so anyway, on our even though $76,000 appears to be a lot of money, and it is, on our utilities, between the water, sewer, and trash, there were a little over $45,000 of that amount that were just for water, sewer, and trash. And then when you compare that to the $12,621,000 worth of sales, we did come up with a delinquency reclassification percentage of less than 0.5%, at 0.36%, which is, I guess if you compare it to the retail world, they're typically 2 to 3% or more. So, and the one thing about the utilities that we also do is occasionally we'll have times that somebody who may have been written off in a previous year, when they move away from the city and they come back to the city, I heard of one time it was 10 years down the road, we actually had a previous balance that they had to pay before they could establish service. So we take them off of our bookable quality assets, but we don't forget. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
And if you look in your packet, we have less this year than we did last year, so
Yes.
thank you to the folks for paying their bills. Appreciate that.
Oh, and I do want to apologize to the commission. I inadvertently, when I was doing a comparison, I printed the wrong version in the original agenda packet. So you do have a hard copy of that. And that total delinquency amount should be $76,557.20. And I do apologize for that.
That's why you said 76 while ago instead of 78. We didn't look at this, I was looking at that.
Oh, okay.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion, we approve the reclassification of delinquent accounts receivable and utility accounts over 120 days past due for an amount of $76,557.20.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion, questions for Chris? All right, all those in favor? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Chris. I think that does it for your show. All right, item number 10, resolution number 2392, establishing RHID for Navajo Road Development. Karen.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. As you recall, we had set a public hearing previously, but we found out before that hearing that there were problems with the plat. Those problems, I believe, have been corrected, and as soon as the deed from the city is filed, that the legal will be correct. So the legal that we have here is correct. And it will be at the public hearing, the correction. So we are here to set a public hearing for February 14th to establish the RHID for Navajo Road.
So Karen, is Exhibit A, is that the correct legal description? It's just that it needs to be replatted, but A is still the correct legal description. Is that accurate?
Yes. Yes, I checked with Lisa from the county, and she said as soon as that deed is filed from the city, that this is the correct legal description.
Do we have that available to be filed?
Yes.
Yeah, I signed it last week.
Okay. That was the only inquiry I had. Thank you.
And the reason we gotta push it to February 14th is there's a 30-day statutory requirement from now until when we do the hearing. And in lieu of doing a special meeting on the 27th of January, we pushed it to the next regular meeting, which doesn't interfere with anything. Unless you guys just really wanna come in on a special night. Okay.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion, we approve resolution number 2392.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion, questions for Karen?
Jeff, I might abstain from this since I'll probably be bidding on the project.
Oh, I see, okay. Yep, thank you, Ron. Okay, all those in favor? All right, thank you. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 11, Police Department interior paint. Chris?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. First of all, I do want to thank you for the work you guys have been doing, especially with the police department. It means a lot to every one of us to know that we do have people that care about us to help to improve the building and the quality of the work that we do, so thank you very much for that. Before you should have a request for the amount of $28,500 to paint the interior building. This is the third quote I got, and significantly lower than the other two. And we believe that it's very much needed. And we've tried to paint it in the past by police officers, and you can tell why they're police officers and not painters. I trust them with my life, but not with a paintbrush. So we're requesting that we're allowed to use a 1-cent sales tax to get the interior of the building painted.
The other two bids were $77,000 and $93,000.
$99,000.
$99,000, yeah.
Yes.
So
This
we're
is
very
significantly
thankful
lower.
to French Construction for their charity and.
Yeah, when I got the quote, I called them to have them come back again to make sure that we didn't
That
miss
was
anything.
correct.
It looks like they got everything that we're asking for, so we're hoping to get this done pretty quickly, along with the flooring, so hopefully we can get it done quickly.
Any questions for Chris? Okay, we have a motion. Well, I'll move that we accept the bid for $28,500 for interior paint, Liberal Police Department, Municipal Court.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yeah. I'll abstain. I don't make any money off the paint side of French Construction, but I do work with French Construction,
Right.
so.
Okay, thank you, Ron. Any other questions or
No.
comments?
I'd like to see
That's
the actual other
exciting.
bids in our packets next time, just so we have a public reference.
Yeah, that was my fault. They're,
I don't have the quotes with me, but I can get them for
no,
you.
I mean.
It's okay, I'm just saying for the next
Yeah.
time, we just like,
I have them, and when I handed it in, it was my fault, I didn't put the other two in, so that was my fault.
Jeff, did you have something you were gonna? We kinda got.
Oh, I just said it's exciting
Oh.
to see the police department getting renovated soon.
The morale's definitely going up. People are excited
That's
to
good.
hear about the changes that we're making.
That's good too.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Okay, thank you very much. Thanks,
Thank you.
Chris. Appreciate
Thank you.
it.
thank you.
Like Rusty said, we say yes before they have a chance to
Yeah, change our minds.
change their mind.
Bring me that so I can sign it.
Yeah. All right, item number 12, Water Department, purchase of registers and chambers. Jose?
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. We're here today seeking approval to purchase 300 2-inch registers and chambers from Core and Main. Here in the past couple of weeks, I want to say about a month, we've had 300 of them starting to go bad on the batteries. They had a 10-year expectancy on them, and we're in year 13 already, so they're way past due their life cycle. Once this starts happening, we got 3 to 6 months before they completely go blank, and then we won't be able to register any water usage. So either we estimate or give out free water to the customers. The quote we got is from Core and Main, which is where we buy all of our stuff, for $147,519 with not to exceed 200,000, because like I said, this is the first batch that's going bad. And by the looks of it, everything that has batteries on it is gonna start going bad here in the next few months.
Jose, explain to them the difference, because you gotta buy fittings, you gotta buy other components for the hookup.
Well, by going with the registers and the chambers, all we gotta do is, if you see the picture, there's, the gray unit is a register and chamber that we're taking out. It just has 4 bolts that come out and take one out and put one in. What we're gonna have to buy is some extra O-rings, which sits at the bottom of the register just in case we tear one taking it out. But that's basically what we're trying to take off. Instead of changing the whole meter out, we can use the body and then just change the register and chamber on it.
So when we did this originally 12, 13 years ago, how many did we replace at that time in one, basically? In
Everything.
One,
We did
everything.
citywide.
So how many registers and chambers are we looking at possibly replacing in the near future? I mean, we got 300. That, to me, that doesn't sound like
No.
the majority of them.
No, because the rest of them are 3 and 4-inch meters, 6, 8-inch meters, depending on where they are at. But this 300 should get us more than half. So if we do the not to exceed 200, we'll still have some money left to buy more as they start going bad.
Okay.
And one thing that I am gonna point out is that starting first week of, well, next week, basically, the price on them are gonna go up. So we're gonna do something, we need to do it here soon.
This comes from the Equipment Reserve Fund,
This would come back from the water operating fund.
or water operating fund, okay.
Well, I just wonder if we're gonna be looking at replacing a bunch more soon, why wouldn't we get those ordered before the price goes up? I mean, if we're looking at replacing, now maybe the 8-inch, the 4 and the 6 and the 8-inch have longer battery life, I don't know, but.
When this was first brought up, we wanted to make sure that we had the money in the account to use it this year, and then start next year with whatever they would have in their account for next year. Instead of trying to order $600,000-700,000 worth of meters. I didn't know the price was going up, and I don't think he did at the time until he just found out.
How significant is the increase in the price?
I think it's like 7%, close to 7%.
When you say 7% of, I know the $300,000, that, I'm just saying, wouldn't it be prudent to look into buying them now as opposed to buying them in 6 months when the price is 7% higher and we're still in the same budget year?
Is it feasible?
That's a finance question.
Well, apparently you got $200,000 you can use, right, Chris?
Yes, so I believe we have some funds in our water department equipment reserve. I apologize, I don't have that balance right offhand, but, you know, I don't know if it might be something that potentially we could have an answer by the next meeting. I mean, you know, it's still.
Yeah, no, I get it, I
It'd
just,
still be in the future, but.
Well, when we originally talked, we looked, and I told Chris that Jose needed 300,000. He said, we've got 300,000 that we can spend on it. So we can do not to exceed 300,000 and buy as many as we can with that, and then starting next week, we'll be in fiscal year 23, and we can hopefully hop on it like that. If you'd prefer to.
no, I'm
I
just
mean,
saying,
no,
if
I
we
mean,
can save some money, we ought to save some money.
I mean, it's smarter to do it that way. It's just he only focused on the 2-inch and
Right,
not
sure.
adding the others.
Yeah, on the ones that we're having issues as of
Right.
this past month.
So and I guess where I was going with that is if we had money available in the equipment reserve that we could use to make a bigger purchase, we might be able to do that. I know the last time we did it, when we bought all of the meters, we did a 10-year lease purchase. So we did end up paying some interest on that, you know, and we had some contractors involved with helping us install those.
Right, I remember that.
And then I know that when we talked, we were planning on trying to do, the next time that they were replaced, we were gonna try to, instead of trying to do all of them at once, we were gonna try to, you know, address the bad ones and.
Right, sure.
And, you know, go down the line, but,
Yeah.
So that's,
Just a suggestion,
yes.
He will spend as
Yeah,
much
well,
money
if
as
you-
you authorize
If you
him
up
to
the money,
spend.
I'll spend it. That's not a problem.
But we were very confident that we have 300,000 to spend. We didn't look beyond that.
So on these meters, Jose, can you guys install all of them?
Yes. Yeah, because it's gonna be just the registering chambers. Like I said, it's 4 bowls, take them out and put back in the new one, so.
Because the last time when we did this, we were changing everything.
Changing everything.
Pipes up.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys are comfortable with 300,000?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I'll make a motion that we approve the purchase of registers and chambers from Corn, Maine, not to exceed the amount of 300,000 coming from the water department's budget.
Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Questions? Okay, all those in favor? All right, thank you very much. Thank you,
Thank you.
Jose. Item number 13, Fire Department, Rosenbauer Freightliner pumper purchase contract. Kelly?
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. This has been an ongoing project for a couple of years now, going back to even when we started thinking about buying a used ladder truck. So I think we finally got ourselves to an action point on this. You should have from me a memo, copy of the contract, and a concept drawing. I did not provide you with the specification. It's a book, so I didn't want to, in the interest of saving the trees, if you're interested in seeing that, you're welcome to. The way that we arrived at this is back in 2010, when we bought engine 17. That was kind of a rush deal because we just needed to purchase a truck. In 2016, when we bought engine 16, we took that specification, refined it, and we purchased that truck. What we did is, if you'll remember back in the spring, we thought the idea of combining a ladder truck and an engine together might be a good savings for us and buy a demo. That just didn't pan out. People were snapping those demos up too fast. So we spent basically the summer working with our Rosenbauer representative, and we took engine 16, our 2016 truck, refined it and brought it up to 2022 standards, and that's what this specification basically reflects. So we're at the point now where the days of buying trucks are way different than they used to be. You basically got to get yourself, make a decision, get in line. So Terry has brought us the contract for $491,780 for basically engine 16 upgraded. The plan to pay for that, after sitting down and visiting with city manager and finance with Chris, is to prepay the chassis when it comes into the Rosenbauer plant. It'll be about $123,000, I believe it is. We have that money in special fire right now. The balance in that account today, after the purchase of the $20,000 truck, is $147,000. We don't have to prepay that chassis until probably the end of '23 or early '24. So we'll have a whole nother year of accruals in special fire. Should be able to accomplish that and take the $4,000 savings. And then that truck, this truck, it's a 575-day contract, so we're looking at mid-24 before it's ready. So we'll arrange a lease purchase financing for it by then, and then do like we're doing with engine 16 and make the payment out of the special fire fund.
And by the time we start paying for this one, the last one will be paid off.
Yes,
So we'll
very
essentially just
close to.
switch one lease purchase
To
agreement
another.
for another.
So we're gonna prepay the chassis of, what'd you say, 120?
123,881 when it arrives at the plant in South Dakota.
So we'd be looking at then, when it's completed, financing roughly 370,000, is that right?
Yeah, 370, 360, 370. And hopefully we can finance that. My dream, my plan is to finance that for 7 years. Because right now, eventually we'll have 4 trucks. And by the time it comes time to buy the newest, truck number 4 will be 21 years old. 20 years is about all you can get out of a fire truck. We're lucky to do that. We'll phase that one out. We'll have a new truck, a 7-year-old, a 14-year-old, and hopefully the city can keep doing that. 9 years from now, I hope I'm not the one worrying about it.
Yeah, so the plan will be to budget that 123,000 for 24, but if it arrives early, we've got cash on hand to pay for it.
Correct. But right now, we just need approval to enter into the agreement and get ourselves in line, essentially.
Does it really take 500 and some days to build a fire truck?
That's what their contract says. 575 days after receipt and approval of the contract. Well, already, our ladder truck, I had hoped it would be ready in February. Now they're telling us July for the ladder truck that we got in line to buy. And then we'll negotiate it with them since they're coming in late with it. But by contract, they get to demo that for 6 months before we get it. That could put that thing in 2025. So I'm gonna try to talk to them a little bit about that and say, hey, when it's built, we should have it.
Right.
And by the way, the engine that we purchased from Seward County, we got a very good deal on that. It's a workhorse. That'll be a good stopgap to get us until we can get this truck.
That's good. Somebody want to tackle that motion?
Right?
Oh, I guess if it's what's wrote on the bottom here, I guess I'll make a motion that we authorize the city manager and the fire chief to enter into a contract for one Rosenbauer pumper with Freightliner chassis for specifications for $491,780. Funding for this purchase through lease purchase agreement at the time of delivery and annual payments from the special fire equipment fund. We need to include in that motion the paying for the chassis, or that's kind of covered in the discussion.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion or questions for Kelly? Comments? All right, all those in favor? Okay,
Thank you so much.
thank you,
Thank you,
Kelly.
guys.
Item number 14. Safety Board appointment. Keith?
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, so a month or two ago, you guys passed an ordinance officially forming the Traffic Safety Board. I have the first recommendation from the currently sitting board it was written in, there's supposed to be 3 civilians on the board, just anybody that lives in the city limits of Liberal. We have received 1 application. The current sitting board has voted to recommend that application to you, Mr. Enrique Wiesel, for appointment to the board.
I'll make a motion that we approve the appointment of Enrique Weissel to the Traffic Safety Board.
I'll second.
Do we have a motion and a second? Any questions, discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Okay,
If I could make one comment to
Please
the
do.
public. We still have 2 civilian openings for the Traffic Safety Board. One of them, the only requirement is to live within the city limits and be 18 years of age. Anybody can apply for that. The other one, that person should live within the city limits and have some sort of technical expertise like city planning or traffic engineering or something like that. But anybody in the city that's interested can pick up an application at City Hall with the city clerk.
How often do you meet them, sir?
That board meets once a month. It's the
Okay.
3rd Thursday of every month.
and how long's the appointment for? Forever?
We don't let you go.
Until there is a requirement that they have to have a certain attendance rate. If they don't have a good enough attendance rate, they are removed from the board.
Okay.
Okay?
What time do you meet?
That is 1:30 in the afternoon.
The Girl Scout building.
I'll post
Still at
it.
the,
Girls Scout Building.
Yeah.
And the girls. Okay, thanks, Keith.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 15, retail strategies.
All right, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, the mayor and SEDC, I can't remember if Jose was in that meeting or not, met with Retail Strategies about a week and a half ago. This is a firm the city had used up until 2018 and parted ways with. We had tremendous success in retail recruiting. I know that Eli Swati, the SEDC director, was really impressed with the presentation and really stuff that his office is trying to gather from a bunch of different sources. This firm brings all together. The mayor, having worked with them daily, can probably give you a better rundown, but they were quite generous in their fees as a welcome back. As you can see, they gave us a 10% discount for the first year, 20% discount in years 2 and 3. And I know you guys understand, but from the time you shake hands until the time the retail opens is generally 2 to 3 years. So it was important that we enter a multi-year agreement for them to market and recruit for Liberal. But I'll defer to the mayor on any other comments about the firm.
I don't know if you guys had a chance to look through their packet in the agenda packet, but it's a very comprehensive job that they do as far as collecting data, which is data is everything for retail. And Jose sat through the presentation as well. My experience in working with them on a daily basis was given a little bit of time, and we were brand new with them when we started with them. By the end of their tenure with us, they literally knew the town as well as I did, and I knew the town really, really well as far as what was available for retail and who owned what, how much it cost, and when it would be available. Those guys knew everything that I did by then. It's so hard to recruit retail. It's done on a whole nother level from what most economic development people deal with. And these guys are definitely set up to do that. And as far as I'm concerned, they are really the Cadillac of companies doing this. So I think this is an easy decision to make. And we can fund it out of economic development.
Correct, the 1 cent sales tax, economic development portion of the 1 cent sales tax. And we are gonna approach the county about a cost share. Whether or not they agree to get on board with us or not, we think it's the right decision. We're gonna at least ask.
It's exciting.
No, I saw their presentation and it was basically everything that you can imagine people in the community talking about regarding what store you want and all these kinds of things. They can actually approach us as the commission or the city and go, hey, well, what would it take to get this store? Well, now we have a company that we literally go, hey, what would it take to get this store? And they can either do the legwork for us, do the research, or say, no, you guys are short 50,000 people before that store would even look at you. So we would have actual information to give the community regarding what it is they're wanting on the retail side. So I'm definitely excited for this. I think would make a great addition for us to help the economic development group.
Damien, did you have a comment?
Yeah, excuse me, to kind of chime in and kind of point out where we look at.
Would you mind?
So,
Yeah, anybody online can hear it too.
People who are online want to hear your voice.
My mom used to tell me growing up, they don't even see me nor hear me. So to kind of chime in to what Jose Lora and Mayor Parsons was kind of saying, retail strategies coming in, they take apart and they survey our city and they survey our county and how many zip codes that we service between Oklahoma, Texas, Colorado, and surrounding areas. And they kind of develop a plan in speaking to these corporations that Rose chose to implement structure to what we need here in Liberal and Seward County. So whether that's a Dunkin' Donuts, whether that's a Chick-fil-A, I'm just throwing out businesses, please don't get excited, right?
Yeah.
So whatever that, that we can really get here in order to grow Liberal. When the previous partnership and adding addition of Tractor Supply, Freddy's Steak Burgers, and Domino's Pizza, if you look at just 3 of those businesses and what they've done in that 8-year time span or 5-year time span, just imagine what we can see later on down the road. So this company, it's not promising to bring 15 businesses here in 3 years, right? It's promising us in our contract to say, hey, we're going to go out, we're going to talk to these businesses, we're going to shake hands, we're going to introduce and what Liberal has to offer, what job areas that it can bring their employees' families when they come and the businesses that want to move here. So we have to really think about the long game, because we have to offer the environment to entice these corporations to come to Liberal. And part of my job, where we get to that level of where we can bring in those new businesses and bring in small business owners and continue to grow that footprint in the city of Liberal and the county as well. So that's kind of what retail strategies, what their big focus is. How can we grow Liberal? How can we set a pathway to reach these corporations and businesses in order just to grow? And then how do we maintain that growth and provide more retail growth in fast food or clothing and specialty retail, et cetera? So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
no other questions?
Great stuff.
I think the last important thing on this would be, it would give us the professional data that we need regarding what kind of housing we need, what kind of, what growth we're looking for to really accomplish what we want as a city. So it's multi-part benefit in this. That's all I got.
Okay. Anybody want to make a motion?
On the motion, we're just going to make it for the 45,000 for the first year, right?
It's a 3-year agreement, so it'd be a motion to approve the agreement with Retail Strategies LLC for a 3-year period of time in the amount of $125,000.
So move.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion, questions?
I just think it's very exciting. Anytime physicians come to Liberal and I give them a tour, one of the things that the wives always ask is, what stores do you have? And I know that there's a lot of families, even including myself, who would look and be very appreciative of having more clothing stores. And so I think this is just a benefit for our community. And having that data will really be able to help us move forward.
As far as retail is concerned, it's all about the data.
Yeah,
So-
honestly, everything in this world is all about data. You gotta have that information to build a strong case.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Okay, opposed? All right, thank you very much. Item number 16, Colby 2022 LLC Real Estate Contract.
Yep, I guess I'll take this over. This is, and Brian's here, no, that's okay. This is a result of starting to look at different lots out at the airport, selling those off. Dollar General contacted the city, looking to buy a lot, to potentially actually put a Dollar General building there. They were wanting to get ahead of the game. We don't have the release from the FAA back yet. It's not been filed. But they were wanting to have something in writing on their end so they could go ahead and get this thing going. Are you here for them too, sir?
So
So I'll have you come up and talk here in a little bit. We did have a conference call with Rusty, myself, and the developer's company that they've used. The only difference in the real estate contract in your packet is in front of you today on a 3-staple real estate contract. The only difference between these two that is in your agenda packet in front of you is we did change section 2 On their end, the developer's company was wanting to have the total price put in there. So there's an added $1,200 appraisal fee. There should not be an L there. I don't know why there's an L after fee, the typo. But that is the only difference in there. They wanted just to be able to write one check to the city, so it's done and over with. And this basically just says this is still subject to the release from the FAA, so that way if the FAA doesn't release the property, if something goes wrong with that process, then we're just done. We haven't had that be an issue yet. I don't foresee it being an issue. Again, these are one of the properties that we have to sell for fair market value. Those are ones that we had appraisals done on. And as we said before, anybody who's going to go ahead and purchase these properties, they've got to pay for the appraisal as well. And that's why that fee's in there. The commission fee, that's something that's not costing us extra money. We just added on to the actual total price for the property. We're still getting the fair market value plus the appraisal fee. So we're not out of any money, obviously, and we're getting the same money, and that'll then go into the airport fund to be used for appropriate airport fund uses. I think that's really pretty much it. There is a portion regarding restricted uses on this, which city manager and myself, as well as the gentleman here today, we spoke quite extensively about. Eli was on that phone call too, right, Rusty?
Yeah.
And one of the things on the restricted properties we talked about, they wanted that to be put in place because they're planning on putting a $2 to $3 million building in, investing in the community. They wanted to make sure that a similar type business didn't open up right next door. And if you look on the very last page of that contract on page 8, the restricted property is just the property right directly around the site that they're wanting to put that in. When and if this thing goes through, there will be a deed that'll be filed transferring the property to them, but it'll be subject to the restrictions that FAA has in place, such as height restrictions. You can't interfere with airport operations, things like that.
We have a question on that. In our online contracts, it looks like one of the stores has a line through it.
Yeah, that was an agreement when we spoke on the phone. That was one of the few stores that they had listed, and in discussions, they agreed to remove that CVS from the list of prohibited businesses that could go in that restricted area.
Okay, so that is.
That's a lot. So CVS could open up if they decided to right next door.
Okay,
But all the
and
other-
that's just what I wanted to make sure it wasn't an accidental line or if it actually did get removed or.
Because Walgreens was pretty clear about where they wanted to be, and if we're gonna start developing that area, we wanted the potential for any pharmacy other than Walgreens to be over there, and they agreed.
Okay.
So. And also, it says Walmart, the Family Market, if it chose to reopen, that would be fine. Walmart couldn't build another super center right over there.
In those
Yeah,
other
in those
lots
other
that
6
that are
lots.
specified.
I don't think we're in danger of Walmart building a second.
Probably not.
They were very accommodating.
Now, this property's just south of the janitorial supply. So I have a question then, kind of, so we have a business there that is open off of a dirt road. And this might be for Keith or whatever. If another business develops there, would there be a requirement for a road to put in and it wouldn't be the responsibility of the city, or what would happen there?
Technically, by zone, develop property, private road for the entrance.
And how does that affect the janitorial place across the road? Would they be responsible for half the street? Is the lot line up? I know there's some statute if somebody owns more than 50% of a deal, they can force the street in. I was just curious if that's something.
Well, that's for specials. I don't know if that would be a question for Lynn, I suppose.
But you're saying that the road he's talking about is not a platted road?
I'm pretty sure that's not even a platted road
So they might actually be trying to get access to Western then,
off of Western Avenue.
but, which would be better for them anyway,
Because
probably.
we had even talked to janitorial supply, because once Jack, is it
Jag or Kroll, whoever the contractor is, when they moved to their new facility,
Yeah,
they were like, can we close that thing off?
yeah. But that's their only access too, isn't it?
Yeah.
And is that rail that used to go over to the old Nash Fitch building, is it,
It's gone.
the rail's gone, but is the right of way gone also? The right of way's still there?
That's ours.
That's your right, okay, the city's right of way, okay. So that's where they would be crossing to put an entrance in. So more than likely, they would put an entrance to Western then, and that wouldn't be a platted road then, you're saying that's, okay.
Just kinda curious.
And I just have one more question, maybe someone else can answer. That well site that's back there, what happens with that? Stays there? I mean, do they build around that? It's included in those adjacent lots.
As far as I know, he's built around it. It ain't going anywhere.
No, I suppose not. I suppose not. All right.
Hey, good evening, guys. My name's Ross Wheeler. I work with Colby Capital. We develop stores for Dollar General. The proposed store is going to be 1,500 square feet larger than the current store in Liberal, which will accommodate an upgraded grocery section, which will have fresh produce, meats, vegetables. Clearly won't be a full-service grocery store, but certainly upgraded from the past. Happy to answer any questions you guys have about the project.
Are they planning to keep the other store open?
Yep, the other store will stay open.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
You wanna help them with do the motion?
Sure. If you wanted to approve this, I would just need a motion from the city to enter into the real estate contract with Coley 2022 LLC for the purchase of the land described therein. Total price for the property would be $31,410 as outlined in the contract.
Pending FAA.
That's in the contract.
Okay.
Well, I will make that motion, failing somebody else doing that. Just exactly what Lynn said.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? The only thing I would comment on is going back to my economic development days, developing some retail along Western was a hope that we could begin to do that. Hopefully this is the camel's nose under the door. We get that started a little bit and continue some retail expansion in that, along that, so. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any discussion, questions? Okay, all those in favor? All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, item number 17 is an executive session. 10-minute executive session per KSA 75-413, subsection B, subsection 1. Personnel matters of non-elected personnel and like commission plus city manager and city attorney. So, 6:29, so let's call it 6:39.
Second.
Okay?
Yeah.
I thought of your family.
Just been an hour and 10 minutes.
Oh, I forget. That's true.
We wouldn't have an executive session. It would've been an hour. What are you gonna say? Thanks.
All right, we're back. Any action that needs to be taken as a result of the executive session? I'm gonna say no. Okay, item number 18, city manager contract extension. So included in the packet, and I'll handle this, and if I start getting, if I start going astray, you'll step in, Lynn. But the idea that we have, what's been presented to us is that some changes in city manager's contract. We would like to increase his base pay from 128 to 170 per year. That puts him in honestly in the upper tier of what city managers of cities our comparable size make. But it also places him, in my opinion, public officials of the same, who have the same type of job, would be the superintendent of schools, the administrator of the hospital, the president of the college. It puts him closer into the ballpark of what those individuals make for a very difficult job. And then extending the date of his contract through December 31st, 2026. There's also will be a provision in the contract that if another community wants to hire him away from us, then there will be a provision in there. They will have to pay us to terminate his contract the amount of the increase in his salary for the first 2 years. So basically a buyout clause in the contract. That will be in place through 2024. Is that right, Lynn?
It's actually, depends on how long you guys do it. It decreases to $25,000 if you go after those first initial 2 years.
I just have been listening to the comments from people in the community, and Rusty seems to have been received very well by the community. I think just in watching what he's done in the 6 months he's been here, just what the transformation of the city, the morale of the staff, what we've seen has been nothing short of remarkable. And I made this analogy. So you get a football coach who's come in and he's turned the program around. You want to make sure that no other colleges come in and hire him away. So you kind of lock him in. And I think essentially that's kind of what we're trying to do here, is to make sure that this relationship extends past the end of this next contract, that goes farther. Makes it harder for someone else to come in and steal him away. At least for myself, that's how I feel about it. And I sure would welcome comments from other commissioners as well.
Well, I think Rusty is doing an outstanding job. I feel like us new commissioners, the previous ones, all 5 of us, along with Rusty, are moving forward in a positive direction. And I feel like sometimes people put a lot on paper, they say a lot of stuff, but I feel like Rusty's like the type, if you say something, he'll instantly get it done. So I feel like he has really proven himself. I hear it from the staff as well. I can't tell you how many employees have came up to me that say, hey, thank you so much. We appreciate the new environment. We feel very comfortable. We're excited the direction the city's going towards. They're all very hopeful and excited, which is something that I was looking for when I was looking for our new city manager. So I just want to say thank you, and I'm very, very pleased that he's here with us. We definitely don't want anybody to steal him from us, because like I said, I feel like we're all working in conjunction very well, and we can accomplish many things together.
I'll go ahead and say something. I will say, I think what I appreciate most, and it does impress me, is Rusty doesn't dance. He won't dance around something, he'll tell you.
Yeah.
You ask something, and I think that's what I appreciate the most is, other than the fact that he's quickly taking hand of learning everything, trying to learn everything that's, because it takes a while to figure out what's all going on in a community. He's done really well at getting into everything and digging into it and doing that, but I mostly appreciate that if somebody says, why don't you do this, he'll tell them why we can't do this, and sometimes that's hard for people to do. They tend to tell people what they want to hear, and I like that he tells them what it is, whether it's good or bad, you know, so I appreciate that.
I guess my part would be a little bit on the numbers side. I believe the school district and the college make above 200,000 each. The hospital, while we were searching, what we posted out there for that administrator position was about 350 at the max. So I believe it's the county, the only one who may be a little bit below this mark, but I do definitely believe this price range puts us well in the top percentile. We looked for quality and we got quality, so that's the direction we're gonna go with this. That being said, I will definitely hold him accountable for, you know, our budgeting items to make sure that we are staying on track and we're not spending more money than what we need. And I think he does a great job at that, though. He is straight to the point, straightforward, and we'll just keep doing the best that we can.
I guess I'll go, because I'm different than everybody else, I guess, so. I understand we want to keep you around, but I see that kind of jump increase in pay all at once is going to hit us we're going to get some complaints. I'd like to see us maybe split up, do it differently, so you have more of a goal, because once you say here, you set yourself for the next 4 years. You're not going to actually have anything to strive for, to push yourself to get that next set of raises that the commission's going to approve you on. You're already there, and I see it as a drawback.
I guess I see it the total opposite. For me, it's like you pay for what you get, and if we're trying to be competitive and keep Rusty here, we also have to offer some kind of incentive. And like I said, I feel like all of us have accomplished so much together, and with just the employees, the morale, the comments we hear from the community, Rusty has really proven himself. So I think that us together going forward this coming year, we're going to be able to accomplish many more things. So we have to do what we can to keep him here, because he doesn't just say things, he actually proves us and gets things done.
Okay, anything else? We'll have a motion?
My only inquiry on
Okay.
the contract itself, if you're gonna make a motion to approve it, I need if we're gonna go ahead and do it through 2026, December 31st, 2026, I need that as part of your motion. And then also, in section 5, it talks about a 3% per year increase. I think from discussions, I think that should just reflect a 3% per year increase for 25 and 26 only, and then commission can reevaluate any increases thereafter on a year-to-year basis. That would be all I would need just for clarification on the contract.
Well, I will make a motion then that we extend city manager's contract through December 31st of 2026. At salary of, in 2023 and 2024 of $170,000 per year. The next 2 years increase by 3% per year. Subsequent contracts to be salary to be, or the increases to be determined, what, by the commission? Or the?
Yep.
That'd
Any
be okay?
subsequent years will be set by the commission and city.
Anything else we need to address, Lynn?
I think that covers it.
And the contract, I guess, that's been presented to us,
Correct.
so.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? Thank you very much. Item number 19, city staff. Chris? Oh, Brad?
I just got a couple things. So, the new building at the ball field is totally complete, everything's been done out there. Last week, they started working on Chewy Shop, and the heaters are in, they're working on getting the lights in the big park. And hopefully, by the end of January, he'll be moved in, and we can start moving traffic maintenance and building maintenance over to that shop and do whatever we wanna do with those. One building we're gonna remove when they do the expansion for the airport terminal and the parking lot out there, so we'll have one empty building.
That's a long time coming.
Yeah,
That's great news.
that's all I got.
Okay, Chris, you have anything?
Uh,
Anything else?
Oh, okay. Okay, commissioners, and I don't know, had you all received this document here on the
Building?
buildings?
Yeah.
Okay. One thing I do want to say that was not included on this sheet, in conversations with Brad today, the per use, there are about 3 man-hours on the average facility usage that are involved in normal cleanup of the facility and, checking it before the facility is rented and so on. But that part is not on the sheet. But at the last commission meeting, the question did come up. Commissioner Laura had asked for some questions on the buildings, how many times the buildings were rented during 2022. So what we did is we went through each building and showed the total number of times the building was used, how many were fee reservations, how many were no fee internal reservations, in other words, city use, and then the other category was how many no fee not-for-profit reservations there were on each building. And then they did include a little bit of information, kind of a summary on, the types of chairs and tables and the reservation cost and the key deposits and so on for the buildings. So if you have any questions on those, I'd be happy to answer them.
There was a price increase, correct, within the last few years, am I correct?
A couple of years ago.
Okay, because I remember renting it, and the Mary Frame seems almost twice as much. 'Cause-
Mary Frame was $100.
okay, so why did we do 50% increase, I guess would be my question.
I mean, if you look at what it cost you to rent anywhere, we just felt like it was like giving it away. I mean, the money we put into the building, the money that we spend on the building, I mean, you go by there and it's 110 degrees outside, they're not paying the AC, they got the doors kicked open. I mean, we're just trying to recoup some of our costs. And I would think for a full day's rental, I mean, $200 is pretty cheap. That's my.
200 seems reasonable for Mayor Frame. I guess the only one that I think is a little bit pricey would be like the Girl Scouts or Mahuron. $400 just seems like a lot. In comparison, I started looking at other cities and towns. Theirs are more along like 300, 250.
But if, in comparison to Mary Frame, so they hold at least twice as many people as what Mary Frame did. And, when we talk about cost, we supply everything. We supply the trash bag, the toilet paper, the soap, all the appliances in there. I mean, you would not believe the times that we get called out because somebody took 14 roasters up and we're throwing breakers and stuff like that. Or the air conditioners froze up because they got the thermostat set on 55. We put boxes on them, they tear the boxes off. And we just thought, why put them on there anymore? I mean, and you get it from 10 o'clock in the morning until 11 o'clock at night. I bet we burned $200 worth of electricity during that time.
Really?
I
That's,
mean, we've come down here and they've been totally froze up and the thermostat set on 55. Doors
Yeah.
are propped open all over the place. I mean, these buildings cost a lot to maintain. We spent last year on this building about 50 grand doing the remodel.
yeah. I was just curious, because that's a comment that I get a lot from the community. Why did the rental fees go up?
And this is just my opinion. I think if we drop the fees, we're gonna spend more money on the buildings. I think our maintenance will go up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have much of an issue with leaving the fees like this for this year, but I'm thinking we keep running this list and just, I guess we'll see what inflation does to people's wages as well. Then maybe consider dropping them somewhat.
A little bit.
Yeah, not significantly, but
Now,
I'm fine with
I have heard comments on the deposit. So the reason the deposit is so high, if you break something in here, we're never gonna get our money. You know, the only other way to do it would be kinda like the street department does when a plumber does a saw cut. It's a minimum of X amount of dollars, and then you have to pay the actual cost of repairs. But to do that, you better get a credit card or something from somebody.
Okay, anything else, Chris?
So, other than that, thank you, commissioners, for approving all of the year-end items that we've had. So we'll be able to close out this year successfully and have a strong start to next year. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Okay, city manager's report.
All right, so next Friday, the search committee will meet with SGR to review the list of applicants for the police chief, narrow it down to 5 semifinalists, and begin conducting Zoom interviews. Talking to them today, they're pretty excited about a couple of the candidates. So that's very promising. Some very good news, for us anyway, is the state fire marshal turned over the rec center to us. So now our
That's
fire marshal is gonna be in control of the changes, and that's just gonna expedite anything else we do moving forward. It's not just the rec center, there's a number of other things that they turned over to us, but instead of waiting 30, 60, 90 days, I can go stand in Cody's office and get him to give us an answer now, and I know he's excited about that. Chris and I met, and Scarlett met with Sunflower Bank to kind of do a review of our finances, and we were in very good shape. They're gonna look at some of our investments to see if there's better products for us, but overall, our financial health was very good. Jeanette, Jose, and I went out to National Beef to serve their Christmas meal. That was something.
It's hundreds of people in like
Yeah.
5 minutes.
Yes, it was, I was tired when we left. I didn't think that you could get tired from handing plates out, but
We put him to work.
but the city was well represented. The mayor, Jose, and I met with the MAM Foundation, so the Air Museum Foundation, and their desire is to bring back the advisory board. So early next year, we're gonna start recruiting members for that advisory board, and look to do some improvements to the museum, not just internally, but also as a draw to the community. So that was pretty optimistic about that. A few months ago, you guys approved the Viewpoint documentary. They gave us a option of filming in January when everything's snow covered, or waiting till May when everything's melted and you can actually see the city. So we chose May to do that. We did, HR, myself, Brad, and Chris went through the annual evaluations. On average, the employees will receive a 3.5% pay raise, which gives us flexibility to see how 23 goes. You guys authorized up to 5% on average. You know, in June, we did just a blanket 2% to help stave off the inflation of 22. So this will be about for most people, about a 5.5% to 6% increase over what they made last year. or we're making this time last year. So inflation's still well above that, but at least it kind of helps offset it and keep us competitive. Something I'm really excited about, we have 4 staff members in January set to start the Certified Public Manager program. They'll go to Newton 2 days a month for between now and November. Graduation the first week, I believe, in December at the state capitol. It's a fantastic program. You know, it brings people from all over the state or region. They do one in, we used to have it down here and it rotated between Dodge, Garden, and us, and they took ours away. Next year it's coming back to Southwest Kansas.
Oh, that's exciting.
When I did it in Topeka, but there's a Kansas City cohort, and it's really invaluable. There's just all walks of public service in that room. And then I start the ICMA Professional Development Academy July 9th, and that's a 12-week course facilitated by the International City and County Manager Association. So a lot of stuff going. The staff wrote you guys a letter. I gave it to you in the envelope, and that kind of captures our appreciation for what you guys have done for us and for the city and for me personally throughout these last 7 months. I appreciate the vote of confidence. You know, now the work starts, and you know, I think that at least the executive team and the department heads are ready to go. So you know, we're gonna try to blister you in the next 10 months while we have you, 10 or 11 months before the general election, and get as much done as we can. But I am very grateful. My family is grateful for this opportunity. I'm really glad you voted yes, because my wife arrived today and she's still got the boxes in the truck. I don't want her to turn around and go back to Junction. So, you know, but I'm very proud of what we've accomplished so far, and I really look forward to what we do in the next 4 to 20 years.
There we go.
That's it,
Okay.
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Items from commissioners will be item number 21. Ron, tradition says we start with you.
Well, I get to be the first one to say,
Beginning of the
thank
meeting.
everybody for the year we've had, and when we leave, I'll see you next year, but, thank you, Rusty, for everything. I appreciate, the expectation that you've given me, or us, or, what I think we can do here. And, thank all the commissioners, for what they've done, and staff, all the staff, because everybody works hard to make this place work, and I know it's not always appreciated, and I guess where some of us we don't spike the ball when we score a touchdown because we think it's our job, but and so you're not patted on the back enough either, probably. So do appreciate what everybody does and what they do, and maybe it's not said enough, but I do appreciate everything staff does. So and thanks for this last year, and excited for next year. Thank you.
Thanks. Jose?
I'll start roughly the same. It's been finally our first full year as the new commissioners. I think we had good praise too between the city staff, hopefully this commission, from our 7-term commissioner. I was excited with the progress that we did, what we've done with the city so far. I hope this continues moving forward. I think there's a lot of good things to come. We managed to accomplish a lot together this year as well. So thank you to everybody, from Rusty, all the department heads, all the employees, and even the citizens of Liberal. I think everyone's getting more comfortable with getting information where it needs to go, and I think that's important. If you have an issue, come out and talk to us about it. And I think we can address a lot of issues in the future. So I'm just looking forward to everything we can accomplish together, and Happy New Year.
Thanks, Jose. Jeanette?
I'm like, I have a voice this time. Not very loud, but I have a voice this time. I want to say Merry Christmas. I didn't get to say Merry Christmas last time, and Happy New Year. And I want to thank everybody. It's been such an honor. I think we're almost at a year So I want to thank you guys for placing your trust in me and electing me as your city commissioner. I also want to thank everybody who has reached out to me, whether it's positive or negative. It doesn't matter. I think all communication is essential, so thank you to everybody that continues to look for me, reach out to me. I want to thank everybody in the audience who continues to come to our meetings. It's exciting to see people from our community engage with us. I also want to thank the staff. Of course, we wouldn't be headed where we are without your guys' guidance, direction, and your hard work from basically everybody. I think at the end of the day, we all play a very important role regardless of your title. So I do want to thank each and every one of them. For the commission, I'm very excited to continue working forward with you guys on a number of projects. For me, this first year, I'm going to be completely honest, it's been a lot of learning. There's been a lot of terms. In reality, sometimes like I have no experience in construction. You know, sometimes like things are way, things that I've never, I guess, like had to deal with. So to me, it's been a lot of learning. So I think this next year I can really focus on trying to tackle some projects that I had. Communication has been something that's very important to me. So hopefully this coming year in 2023, I can accomplish being able to put like more information on behalf of the city. And working with Rusty, I would really like to hire somebody for communications in the future or train somebody. But I'm just really looking forward to what we can accomplish in the next year. So thank you and Happy New Year.
Chris?
My turn, all right. I'd like to actually say I appreciate everything the staff has done all this year, and hopefully next year we can accomplish much more. I'd actually like to make a special appreciation to Lynn Kerr for keeping us legal through all our meetings. Because there's been a few times he's had to stop us and correct us, and attorneys don't get the gratification that they should deserve sometimes.
Maybe we do.
We appreciate you.
You know, so, and New Year's coming around the corner. Everybody likes to go out and have a little sauce, and there's an officer back there that would love to probably give you a ticket if you go out and get sauced and go driving. So let's try not to do that and call a cab. And hopefully 23 is a better year. Can't be any worse.
Okay, well, thanks. I would just like to say at the close of our first full year as a commission, you know, we had a lot to do at the beginning of the year, a lot of difficult decisions to make, a lot of tough decisions to make. Leastwise was hiring a new city manager, and I feel like we've got a great team. I don't think people understand the amount of change that's happened within the city, the organization, how we operate, processes and things like that have changed. It's been a lot. And so having gotten that, hopefully most of that out of the way, I really look forward to the next year, and Jeanette and I, a couple of more years past that, that we can begin to focus forward instead of doing lots of repair and things like that. So thank you to commission, we thank you to city staff, everybody. I feel like it's a team, and we, you know, it's been gratifying to work with other organizations too in the community, the city, the county, and the school district. It seems like we're all kind of operating as a group instead of separate entities sometimes. So anyway, I'm very excited about what we have to look forward to, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody. Thanks to the staff as always. So item number 22 is the vouchers, and I just want to go on record as saying that I made a comment last time, and they're even lower this time.
I was gonna say, you're gonna be very happy. I'd like to make a motion that we approve the vouchers in the amount of $609,300.50.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor? Thank you very much. That gets us through it all. We're adjourned.